Right there in the front is Jeffrey Smith, an infantryman training in Afghanistan for one of the first of many fights. 3 combat deployments, and about 10 years later, we met Smith last spring at his Lacey home, this time fighting a new battle.
Okay, why don't you get your bike and just meet
against the army that sent him to war.
I'm more comfortable being in Afghanistan than I am sitting in this living room right now.
His combat-related post-traumatic stress disorder is too severe for him to stay in the military. Doctors say he needs help. But instead of leaving the Army honorably for medical reasons, in April a high-ranking Army official made a choice to kick him out of the service without honor, without VA benefits, without help. The discharge? Other than honorable. The reason? Misconduct. Over 7 months last year, Smith got in trouble for 3 alcohol-related incidents. Twice he showed up to work drunk. Then he got a DUI. All behavior doctors could have predicted.
Substance abuse is as much part of PTSD as pain is part of cancer.
The Army once called Smith one of the best. Not only is he decorated with honors, but in work evaluations he consistently exceeded Army standards. But what these records don't show was Smith's private struggle.
And I would be at work and have an anxiety attack or a panic attack and start freaking out and just, go get what I've always gotten, go get alcohol.
The Army sent him to treatment, their first of several attempts to get him help. But it didn't work.
It's when you get home that your brain starts processing everything that you went through. And we were trying to process it by ourselves. And alcohol was the only way we could do it. It wasn't going and talking to somebody.
Smith couldn't talk about the helplessness he felt in battle, listening over the radio to his friend die. He couldn't talk about what it felt like to know that soldier died, and somehow he made it out of 3 separate IED blasts and this firefight.
I was sure I was dead.
On that same deployment, Smith says his platoon walked through an Afghanistan village right after the U.S. military hit it with mortars.
You see kids burnt up or you see toys and stuff on the ground in schools and women burnt up.
Last year, all that unresolved pain came to a head. That's when Smith started showing up to work late and drunk. The Army again sent him to treatment, and they put him on a track to get out of the military with a medical discharge. It's the same process they've used to separate tens of thousands of other soldiers with PTSD. But after Smith in December got that second DUI as a soldier, his captain put a stop to that medical track. He recommended to superiors that the Army instead punish Smith by kicking him out for breaking the rules.
So what stands
This is
out
neuropsychologist Robert Stanulis, who specializes in treating veterans. We asked him to review Smith's military records.
If you look at what is being called misconduct, is really a measure of the severity of his symptoms.
2 psychiatrists who examined Smith in person agreed. Smith was using alcohol to avoid his trauma, to relieve the symptoms of his PTSD. In the end, it would be up to not a doctor, but a major general at Joint Base Lewis McChord to decide whether this struggling soldier deserves lifelong benefits and help or nothing at all. And you already know Smith walked away empty-handed.
Should have picked a different career.
So what do Army leaders have to say about all of that? Investigator Taylor Merfendereski has been asking for interviews about this issue for nearly a year. They declined. In a statement, though, an Army spokesperson did say that Smith was treated to a fair separation process and that Army officials do consider input from medical providers when making their decisions.